I wanted to take a few minutes to extend some thanks and some appreciation before I have a chance to introduce Dani. First, just be aware, it's pretty awesome what's in here, and all of you that came today. Do you realize that, as near as we can tell, if this was a regular season volleyball match, the number of people here would rank about 15th in the country for total attendance at a regular season match, just here for today's press conference. First, I want to take a minute to thank Dani's family, particularly Lane and Boone. Welcome you guys back home, but to your entire family. My guess is you're pretty excited, but I want to thank you for giving Dani to us. Lane, many of you know, Lane was a long snapper for the football team, and if you've been following NCAA rules, there may actually be some codicil that he's got eligibility left. And if you saw it last year, Matt will maybe calling you, Lane. And buddy, you know, you're going to love Nebraska, but I will tell you this, Nebraska is going to love you a whole lot more. So I am thrilled that you're here. Also, the dude down here has got away with sitting down, but I'm going to be the third person that's going to salute John. I'm going to make him stand up and receive the recognition from all of us that he well deserves. John? I can do stuff like that now that he's retired. A lot's been written about John's legacy over the course of the last week since this announcement dropped, but I will tell you, it isn't the trophies, and it's not the wins. It is how he has led this transition really over the last 10 days, 2 weeks, and leaving a program not only better than he inherited it, but putting the program in a position to achieve even greater heights than when he led it. And so, John, that's what separates you from all the other wins and trophies that everyone else has, is how you've transitioned this program and made sure Nebraska Volleyball remains what Nebraska Volleyball is. Thanks, John. Governor Payne is here today. I appreciate you, Governor. The Governor and John share a couple of bonds. One, they are great leaders. They are Nebraskans through and through. They're also horsemen, and they share a love of horses. And one of the interview questions, Dani, if you remember, do you like to ride horses? Yes or no? And she said no. And so that was a clincher for us. And so one of the bonds, Governor, maybe you should develop with Dani is take her advice on horses. Several members of university leadership are here today. You heard from Dr. Gold, and we just can't thank Dr. Gold enough for his leadership. Chancellor Rodney Bennett is sitting down in front, and members of the Board of Regents. And for all of you, for university leadership, if you look around, I think we need to thank you for empowering this, and your predecessors for empowering this, because it doesn't happen anyplace else. And so we really appreciate your leadership. And I want to extend a special thanks to everyone from the Freeman schools, from Adams, Nebraska. So, as nearly 604 is the population of Adams, Nebraska. There were 700 RSVPs from Adams, Nebraska for today. If you're going to put the name around the bank in Adams, Nebraska, today's the day. But for the students from Freeman schools, just one quick message. Dani sat in your desk, she walked your halls, she played in your gym. And what she has become is the dream of every high school student, to be great at what you want to be, and the opportunity came from your school. And so as you look up to somebody, always look up to Dani, because she is what we all aspire for our children. And I'm so very proud of her, and thank you for being here and being a part of today. And probably the most important thank you is for the volleyball staff and the 14 women in the locker room that are sitting over here. You know, they carry themselves with grace and class on and off the floor. But the last week, 10 days, they've been put through stuff that it happens, right? But you don't want to see it happen. But how they have responded with that grace and class and presence, everything that we see out in front is exactly what they're like behind the scenes. And I'm just so proud to be associated with their program. I will share one thing we talked about in the locker room, that the only thing that's unbeaten in anybody's life is destiny. And destiny puts the right people at the right place, for some reason at the right time. And destiny decided that it was this team that was going to navigate this transition, and that they would be able to not just survive it, but thrive within it. And so the last week has proven destiny again is unbeaten, because that's exactly what they're doing. Thank you so much. Appreciate you very much. Kristen talked about National Girls and Women in Sports Day. It is no coincidence, I don't think. It was the 39th National Girls and Women in Sports Day officially yesterday. Dani is 39. There's some synergy there. I've said this at John's press conference last week. If Dani was not a Nebraskan, if Dani did not play here, if Dani did not coach here, Dani is the right person to be the head coach in Nebraska. Over the last 8 years, her winning percentage at Louisville, second in the country. You know who was number 3? That guy right down there. She has achieved at an extraordinarily high level with the program that she virtually built. But besides that, besides the track record, I will say it's 2 things that for Kristen and I set Dani apart, and why this was a very short, brief search. And as the jeweler said, she said yes. It was a very short search for 2 reasons. Number one, she bet on herself. She could have sat at the end of the bench and felt that the head coaching job would be an entitlement to her because of what she'd done in the past once John decided to retire. But she didn't. She left for Louisville. She built that program back up. She did what Nebraskans do. She went away knowing that she was going to achieve and she was going to earn. Nothing was going to be entitled and nothing was going to be given to her. She was going to achieve and she was going to earn everything that she wanted in her life. And hopefully, Dani, this is the end of that road for you. But I'm so proud of what you did to get here. And secondly, she's a winner. On this court, this very court. One of the reasons we didn't put the volleyball court down, I don't know if you recognize it, you won 2 state championships playing basketball on this very wooden floor in here. She's a winner. She's won at everything. Everything. And for those of you who haven't met Lane and Boone, I will tell you she wins at everything. There are 4 rules when you hire somebody. 4 characteristics that are absolutes. Number 1 is character, number 2 is integrity. She has represented herself her entire life with character and integrity. There was no question that she brought those 2 things. Next was ambition. That was the move to Louisville. You want somebody that's ambitious. Well, you know the other thing? Hire a winner. Because guess what winners do? Win. And it was very easy for all of us to make the decision for those reasons. Add icing to the cake, she is a Nebraskan. She was a national champion as an athlete. She was a national champion sitting on the bench and coaching alongside John. And it is not lost on any of us inside the department. In this week of National Girls and Women in Sports Day, she is going to be the 4th female Husker athlete alum to be head coach in this program. Amy Williams in basketball, Rhonda in softball, Heather in gymnastics. That is remarkable, and it says such great things about the women in our state and the fact that they come back to lead the next generation of women in this state. The best program in the nation should have the best head coach in the nation, and the Huskers do. The Huskers did, and the Huskers do. Now with that, if you turn your attention to the video boards, there's a little tribute to Dani and her journey back home to Nebraska.
I was at the celebration in '95. I was at the celebration in 2000, just hoping one day I would get a chance to be up here. And we ended better than any other team that has had 17,000 fans. And it was unreal.
Salvador who grew up on a farm in Nebraska, played and won a national championship in Nebraska. How does it feel?
Dani Busboom volleyball career has been all about change. Back in high school, she moved to center in her senior year to get ready to come to Nebraska. And now in her senior year at Nebraska, she was asked to move once again.
She was the first girl I ever saw that could do a fadeaway jump shot. And I'm thinking, wow, this is an athlete.
Tons of energy. She's going to rip through fingers pretty hard right there.
In 2005, she was a setter in a 6-2 system, and we lost to Washington. I knew we had to make a change and go back to a 5-1, and I brought her in the office, and I said, Dani, we're going to move you to libero.
My name is Dani Busboom. I'm a libero, and my goal is to be an anchor on ESPN.
I didn't see her for 3 days. I finally called her mom on the third day, and I said, Bonnie, I had a bad meeting with Dani. She wasn't happy. I don't know where she is. I haven't seen her. She goes, she'll be in your office later today. So I'm thinking she's coming in to quit. She comes in with a letter, and this letter talked about she was going to do everything possible to help that team, whatever role that I was asked to do, she would do it.
Well, again, sliding behind one. Again, Busboom to keep it up.
She was a great leader, and that's when I knew she would be a great coach.
Was it easy to tell that she had coaching in her future?
No, it wasn't. When she was playing at Nebraska, she didn't really talk about it that much. And then she got into the training business for a year or two, and then all of a sudden she was like, I'm kind of missing sports. And alongside University of Tennessee assistant coach Dani Busboom.
Well, some changes are coming for the U of L volleyball program in November. U of L athletic director Tom George introduced the Card's new head coach, Dani Busboom Kelly.
Louisville head coach Dani Busboom Kelly is back in her home state with an opportunity to win the biggest prize in college volleyball.
Everybody knows crowds can certainly help that. So hopefully they'll be cheering for us, and they want to see a fellow Nebraskan in the finals. I'm just excited and just thankful to have the opportunity. And when we went back to Nebraska a few years ago, that was really special too. Playing against your alma mater and a program that means so much to you, it means a lot. John Cooks, the coach of Nebraska, mentioned my senior year, like, you should get into coaching. And I always had that in the back of my head that I wanted to try it. And it's funny because when I got my first coaching job, I told myself, well, I'm going to go for it. I'll see how I like it. But I also knew I would probably never get out of coaching. So I knew once I got in, I'd be in it for a long time. But it was really just a switch of positions and deciding that I wanted to get back to the sport and take it as far as I could.
In Nebraska, the retirement of a volleyball coach, he cataclysmic news. News that has shocked the entire volleyball world. He changed the landscape of the sport, and he immediately turned the reins over.
Nebraska's already announced her successor.
In the future is Dani Busboom Kelly.
She's been one of the greatest turnarounds in the history of college volleyball. 8 years, she's been to 3 Final Fours, played for 2 national championships. The fact that she coached here. The fact that she played here. She beats Husker.
I'm Dani Busboom Kelly, and there's no place like Nebraska.
We've got one more we can move.
What a welcome. I haven't really been that emotional in the past couple weeks. I don't think I've had time to be emotional, but as I walked on this stage, that's when it started to hit me. So I'm going to do my best to make it through this in a timely manner. But in the fall of 2003, I had been on campus for a couple weeks. It was the day of the annual red-white scrimmage, and it would be my first time wearing a Husker uniform. And I was on the court to get some extra setting reps, of course, and I was just sitting down by myself in the middle, cross-legged, a couple tears, and I took it all in and couldn't believe I was there living a dream. An assistant coach came down and asked, what are you doing? I told her, I can't believe I'm here. Today, as I stand before you all, I'm incredibly honored and humbled to be living yet another dream. Nebraska is more than an athletics program, more than a volleyball program. It's a way of life. It's an inspiration. It brings people together. It's empowering, and it means more than words could ever explain. President Gold, Troy, Kristen, thank you for believing in me and trusting me to continue the legacy of Nebraska volleyball. It's been a crazy and hectic 7 days, but Nebraska always does it bigger and better. The attention to detail and the special care of this program always shows up when it's needed the most. This transition has set a new standard for women's volleyball, once again showing the world just how big women's sports can be. When I heard they were sending buses to Adams, I was blown away, and to see all the Freeman Falcons in the building is pretty incredible welcoming. And look at this place, the arena being full with 1,000 people at 2 p.m. on a work day, honoring a legend and welcoming a new coach. There's nowhere else in the world that this could happen. I might argue there's no other sport in the world where something like this could happen. To my family, I mean, if you know Jean and Bonnie, you know they are the biggest supporters out there. I've already warned Lindsay to get ready for Bonnie and her request, gear, tickets, special seats, so just be prepared. But growing up, you know, they rarely missed a game, whether it was softball, volleyball, basketball. I can probably count on one hand the games they missed. And now they've been the biggest cheerleaders as my journey from Tennessee and back to Nebraska and everywhere in between, making as many games as they possibly could. Some of my old athletes be like, are your parents seriously driving again? I'm like, yep, they love to drive. That's a true Nebraskan. So they'll get in the car and drive anywhere. And to Lane and my husband, thank you for the unconditional love and support. A coach's spouse might be the hardest job in the world, but Lane makes it look easy, and I'm not just talking about the hours he spends on the golf course. But our lives started right here, from the days eating lunch together at the training table, and then Keith Zimmer having to separate us during study hall, and then Lane tossing me volleyballs, and myself attempting to catch his long snaps. We formed an amazing relationship with Nebraska athletics right in the middle. And fast forward to a couple moves across the country, and you pacing the corridor with fellow dads at Final Fours. I couldn't do this without you. And sharing these experiences alongside our growing family with you is more amazing than I could have ever imagined. And now being able to bring our son back into the Husker family and welcoming a new boy into this amazing culture of athletics is something so precious to us. And I'm already looking forward to the NIL deals coming across my desk from Coach Hoiberg and Coach Rule in about 15 years. In an interview, Troy said he was impressed that I bet on myself, and said it again today, and I took a chance to leave Nebraska. The University of Louisville, Tom Jurich, Vince Tyre, and Josh Hurds, they made it a layup of a bet. And Louisville became the best home away from home, and the support and staff of the university made that city fanatics. And everything I tried to do there is like, what can we do to get close to what Nebraska does. And I'm so appreciative that they gave us the support to do that and to help me in my journey to get back here. But the biggest thank you of all goes to John Cook. I've thought about our relationship over the years, from player coach, assistant head coach, to peer, to mentor, and of course friend. There hasn't been anyone as steady in my career as you. So thank you a million times over for shaping me into someone that you could trust with such a special task. When Louisville came here in 2021 and beat the Huskers, I walked up to shake Coach's hand, but he immediately opened his arms and gave me a hug to tell me he was so proud of the way my team played. And that's a core memory for me and just speaks volumes of how proud John is of his former players and always will be in our corner. But I can't wait to continue raising the level of women's volleyball in this country and, of course, hang some new banners in this arena. And I will do everything in my power to make you proud. As we start the new chapter of Nebraska Volleyball together, I want you all to understand the people in this program will do everything in our power to continue the tradition from Pat Summitt, Terry Pettit, and John Cook. Jalen, Kelly, and Lindsay staying on board is a testament that this program isn't and never will be just about one person. It's about this state. And we will work tirelessly for the people that love the Huskers. To the 2025 team, I can't wait to get to know you and work with you. We'll approach each day with fire in our bellies and love in our heart for everybody that supports us. John said it a few days ago, I'm going to dress a little better than he does, and we'll probably have a little more fun off the court. But the core values and the mission behind Nebraska Volleyball will always remain the same. And thank you again, Husker Nation. This has been a homecoming fit for a queen. Thank you.